So next, let's take a look at our Portraits tab. This is where you can import the PSPA. So I'll click on Import Portraits. I will select the I have a PSPA index. So step one is finding the text document that comes in the PSPA. Just bear with me while I get to my folder. There we go. There's my index file. So I simply select that. And as you can see, it does reflect the data. And here you should always pause to take a moment to review the column headers compared to the data that's listed below it. For example, if I look at the fourth column here, it says grade, which is great, and then last name and first name, everything's looking good so far. Groups. Okay, I happen to know that this is not homeroom, it's department, so I'm going to change that. You can also scroll down and take a look. Oh, that has salutations in it. So that's not the period, it is the salutation. And I also know that this is a priority information, so I'm going to change that to priority. So once reviewed, we are happy. You can go ahead and click Next. Now this is where you can add the photos. You have two choices. You can use the Add Photos button. If you have a single folder, I recommend this method because you can go into the folder, select all your images, and hit Open. If you have multiple folders like I do, you're going to have to go in and out of each folder, which can be, a little annoying. So the other way, when you have multiple folders, is to open a file browser and go to the PSPA file. Select the folders that contain the images, and then click and drag to the same area in the online program. And there you go. It automatically throws in all the images. So these red dots mean they haven't been uploaded yet. So I'm now going to say Start Upload, and it tells me how many files that I have and how many have uploaded. I'm just working with a small PSPA because it will take a moment here because it is being uploaded to remote storage. And again, the speed will be affected based on a person's internet quality. So we'll just give that a moment to run through. And as you can see, as an image has been successfully uploaded, the red dots are being turned to green and the names now reflect below the images. While they're loading, I'll answer a couple questions that have been asked. April, you asked, can a non-yearbook user who uses the web link see all the photos in the folder, even the ones they didn't post? Yes, if the link is given to a parent who's not part of the yearbook team, they can see all the photos, but all they can do is view and then upload. They can't edit, they can't download, they can't do anything except submit photos. And so they will see others, but they can't take them in anyway. Denise asked, will team members from last year still be in this book or erased and need to be re-entered? Excellent question. I haven't had that one before. I'm gonna have to double check, so I'll let you know 100% in the follow-up email, but I have a funny feeling that yes, they'll still be there, and then people that are gone you can delete, and if there's new people, you can add them, but I'm going to double check that, so please watch for the follow-up email with a confirmation to that answer. And Vicky mentions that the PSPA folders with images have index files for each folder. Is that okay when copying the folders to the drop-in upload? Yes, that's fine. So when you select multiple folders like I did and dragged it into the upload area, if they have any other file type in there other than JPEGs, so such as its own little index, you'll get an error message up at the top here. It'll be red. It'll just say there's an unknown file type. That's fine. There'll be a little red X in the right-hand corner here that you can just select acknowledging that, but it will still work. Okay, so my upload is done. I know that because everybody's green. It says 74 out of 74, and it says upload finished. So we'll click here to view the portraits. So we're still on the Portraits tab. It's now just giving us a different view because we now have information. So everybody's in a list. We have a nice search over here in the right-hand corner. So if you need to find somebody, you can type and it brings up that person. You can search by any attribute. It doesn't have to be just a last name. So if you want to see all the grade 2s, the thing is, it's also going to search like other fields that may contain that information. So we can also play with the headers. So if we want to sort by grade, we can click grade and it will group them all together, like so. This is where you would come and make any changes, such as spelling corrections, or Billy was in one class and he's now been changed to another class. I will show you how to do that in a moment because that coincides with how panels update once you make a change. So let's go ahead to creating a panel, and then I'll show you how to edit people after. So we'll now go back to the book tab. We'll go to our add pages, and this time we're going to select the portrait option. So we have to give the project a name, so I'm just going to say the grade 1 class. And then this is where you choose the portraits that you would like to display. So it can be a certain teacher, or it can be a grade, or it can be any of the options that are listed based on the data. So I'm going to say, give me a portrait page with my grade 1s. 18 portraits. Great. Label options. So the default is first name, last name. Perfect. I'm happy with that. These are the sorting options. So if priority is filled out, the default will be priority last name, first name. If priority is not filled out, the default will just be last name, then first name. And you can change it. They are drop-down menus. Now this is where you can choose the layout. So if you want to take a look at our template field, these are all the options. All the layout options we offer in the online program does have the labels under the images. Featured images is how you can have one or more. And then as you can see, we have some numbers down here. So it's telling us we have 18 portraits altogether. And based on the layout of 5x5, it's going to create one page with 18 on the page. If I pick a smaller layout, let's say I did a 3x3, 18 portraits altogether, a 3x3 creates 3 pages with 9 per page. But on the last page, there's only 3 images. So it kind of helps you do a bit of the math to figure out what it's going to look like. So I'm going to go back to my 5x5 and select Create Portrait section. This will just take a moment because it's pulling information from the Portraits tab, saving to remote storage, and creating the page all at once. And once it's done creating it, it automatically opens it in the Edit view. So there we go. There's our panel. We could now decorate it if we wanted. When it comes to updating the panel, so what you want to do is get the data as 100% accurate as possible, because let's say little Jeff here actually prefers to go by Jeffrey, so his name needs correcting. If I decorate the page right now, so I'll go to my photos and I'll back out and go to the clip art folder. So this is how you access your clip art. Once you're in a folder with items, they'll reflect up top. There. So I gave it a background. Now I'm going to save my changes, but we're going to go back to the Portraits tab and fix Jeffrey because it currently says Jeff. Let's just save and close. And we'll go to the portrait. So I'm going to search for him by his last name, which was Bones. So you have a couple ways of editing him. You can click, select Edit, which is a good option more for when you're doing a bulk edit. For an individual edit, you can actually just double click and then make the change and select Apply. If you want to do a bulk edit, you can select the people that you need to, like so, edit, and then make the changes here, and it will apply them to all the people that you have put a check mark in. Okay, so I'm also actually going to add Mr. Winkler to the grade 1 class as well. So you always want to look for that OK after you hit apply there. All right, so we've made some changes, so we're now going to go back to the book tab. So to actually get those changes to apply to the page, we'll need to open it into edit mode. But how I know I have changes that I need to apply is when it refreshed, you see that there's a yellow hazard symbol now above the page. I'm like, oh, okay, something's up with that page. So I can open it into edit mode. And if you look up here in the left-hand area, there's a couple options. One, you can change the layout if you want. Great. You can change the number of featured images. Wonderful. But now it says status out of sync. So that's how I'm going to update the page. So I'll click this little refresh symbol. It gives you a warning. You're about to refresh. It will apply the changes. Are you sure? Yes. Bob Winkler has been added, and he's been added there because I gave him a priority of 4. Jeff Bones is now Jeffrey. And up in the top here, it says status is up to date. So let's make a couple other changes. Let's do 2 featured images. Again, you'll get the same confirmation. Give it a moment to think. There we go. We want to change the layout. Let's go for a 4x3. It will take a moment. And as you can see down at the bottom bar now, we now have the number of pages necessary to accommodate the class. And they all have the same background. So that's how you can work with the portraits. The images can be selected so that you can crop if need be, but they can't be clicked and dragged around. The names can be edited here as well, but then it's out of sync with the database. So I recommend always making updates on the Portraits tab. To change the header, it's just a text box, so you can click on it, open the properties, and make the changes, like so. Once we're done, we can hit save and close, and when we go back to the book ladder, it will refresh, and we will now have the 4 pages for the grade 1 class. So say we were done with the grade 1 class, I can now do the submit this page for review. So if I was a student working on it, so that's just the 1 page. So I would have to go to each page that is ready for review. So as you can see on the sidebar here, the little indicators for each page are changing color. And let's leave the first page there as not ready for review because it's kind of plain. So we can now go back to the admin tab and we'll see that the pie chart has been updated and our page limit has also changed.